Drop Mount Everest into the deepest hole in the ocean, and its peak would still sit more than a mile underwater. And today you are falling all the way down. One slip off a research boat above the Mariana Trench, and you begin a 7-mile drop into a place fewer humans have visited than the surface of the moon. The first 660 feet are the sunlight zone, where roughly 90% of all ocean life crowds into a warm, bright layer thinner than 2 stacked Eiffel Towers. At 130 feet, you pass the limit for recreational divers because deeper down, nitrogen narcosis makes people so loopy they have offered their breathing gear to passing fish. By 330 feet, the pressure is 10 times the surface, which feels like 10 bowling balls stacked on every single square inch of your slowly sinking body. Here the color red quietly disappears because red light cannot reach this deep, which is exactly why so many deep-sea creatures wear red as a perfect invisibility cloak. You enter the twilight zone where sunlight is 1,000 times dimmer and the water flips from bathwater warm to refrigerator cold. In a few hundred feet, somewhere nearby glides the actual kraken, a giant squid up to 40 feet long with dinner plate eyes built to spot the faint glimmer of a sinking tourist. Little lights blink everywhere now because 3/4 of the animals here make their own glow, and nearly every twinkle is a trap saying, "Come closer, I am delicious." At 2,000 feet, the squeeze is 60 times the surface, enough to crush a foam cup down to a thimble, which researchers actually do just for souvenirs. A slow blizzard drifts past you called marine snow, tiny flakes of sinking debris that can take whole weeks to fall, and you should absolutely not catch on your tongue. When a whale sinks down here, its body becomes a buffet that feeds an entire ecosystem for up to 50 years, which makes your week-old leftovers look pathetic. This is the midnight zone, where not one ray of sunlight has arrived in 4 billion years, and the pressure feels like an elephant standing on you in high heels. Meet the anglerfish, the internet's favorite glowing nightmare, except most of them are barely the size of your fist, which is basically an angry, luminous tennis ball. A vampire squid drifts by, and when frightened it pulls its webbed arms over its head and simply hides inside itself, which honestly might be the most relatable animal alive. You pass the depth where the Titanic rests at 12,500 feet. Sink that famous ship right here, and it would still fall another 5 whole miles. In 1962, explorers reached the very bottom in a steel sphere with 5-inch walls, and when a window cracked, they calmly stayed 20 more minutes anyway. Now come the abyssal plains, endless fields of soft grey ooze built from billions of years of falling particles that look less like Earth and more like another planet. Flapping past on 2 little ear-like fins comes the Dumbo octopus, the deepest octopus known to science and quite possibly the happiest small ghost in the entire ocean. You slip over a canyon edge into the Hadal zone, named after the Greek god of the underworld because ocean scientists apparently stopped being subtle a long time ago. The crushing force here would fold a submarine like paper unless it is built like a bank vault, which is why every vessel that visits looks absolutely ridiculous. Near 27,000 feet, you meet the deepest fish ever recorded, a ghostly snailfish, because below this line, pressure warps proteins and physics simply tells fish no. From here down, only armored crustaceans and stubborn microbes survive in water that would slowly dissolve an unprotected shell because this place actively tries to erase everything inside it. And still the trench keeps going, past every whale and wreck and record you have seen, because everything so far was merely the average, and this place laughs at average. Then your boots finally touch Challenger Deep at nearly 36,000 feet, where 8 tons press on every square inch like 50 jumbo jets stacked on your body. The film director James Cameron drove a custom submarine down here in 2012, taking 2.5 hours, while your version of the trip cost absolutely nothing. And here is the part nobody expects. The mud beneath you is wriggling with tiny living things because even at the bottom of the world, Earth made life work. Here is the wild truth. We have mapped the entire surface of Mars in better detail than our own seafloor, and most of our ocean has never been seen. As you rocket back toward daylight, the weight peels away layer by layer, and the twilight lights flicker past your face like a glowing city seen from a night train. So the next time someone calls the deep sea just water, remind them the biggest mystery on Earth is not above our heads, it has been under our feet all along.